Listen closely, because human relationships are far more complicated than they appear on the surface. Sometimes, people who are already committed can begin showing emotional signals towards someone outside their relationship, not always because they want something romantic, but because something deeper is happening inside them, something psychological. And today, we're going to explore those moments, not to judge anyone, not to encourage any harmful choices, but to understand the psychology behind why someone, even a married woman, might begin forming an emotional connection with another person. Take a breath, settle in, and let's explore this with clarity, compassion, and emotional maturity. Because when you understand the psychology of human attachment, you begin to recognize patterns that aren't about seduction, but about unmet needs, loneliness, confusion, and the universal desire to feel seen. This isn't about taking advantage of someone's vulnerability. This is about learning to protect yourself and others from emotional entanglements that can lead to regret. Awareness is protection. Understanding is power. So, let's begin. Sometimes, a married woman begins behaving differently around you. She becomes more attentive, more responsive, more emotionally open. And at first, you might not understand why. You may think maybe she's just friendly, or maybe she only needs someone to talk to. And sometimes that's exactly what it is, but other times, the behavior reflects something deeper happening within her emotional world. Let's explore these psychological signals carefully, slowly, thoughtfully, so you can understand them, set healthy boundaries, and navigate these situations with wisdom instead of confusion. It begins with communication. When someone feels drawn to you emotionally, they tend to respond quickly, even when they're busy, even when they're surrounded by responsibilities, even when their day is overflowing. And you might notice it. The fast replies, the eagerness, the constant availability. For many married women, communication becomes an emotional outlet, not because they want something inappropriate, but because they feel heard, understood, and valued in a way they might not feel at home. It's important to remember, this does not make anyone a bad person. This does not make her husband a villain. This does not make you special in a romantic way. It simply means something in her emotional life is unfulfilled, and you've become a source of comfort. But comfort can easily turn into attachment, and attachment, when unaddressed, can become a quiet emotional dependency. So pay attention when someone, any married person, is consistently more responsive to you than to anyone else. It often reflects a need, not a desire, a longing for connection, not a pursuit of romance. And in those moments, you have a choice to protect your emotional boundaries and hers. Another psychological sign appears when she begins aligning her emotional energy with yours. She starts mirroring your language, your tone, your humor. She listens closely. She adjusts to your rhythm. She becomes emotionally synchronized with you. This behavior is not unique to married women. It's human psychology. When someone feels emotionally drawn to another person, they naturally mirror behavior to create closeness. But here's the deeper truth. This mirroring often comes from a place of emotional displacement, when a person subconsciously shifts their unmet feelings towards someone who feels safer to confide in. So when a married woman begins sharing more personal struggles, talking about her emotional gaps, expressing loneliness or disappointment in her relationship, it doesn't necessarily mean she wants you. It often means she needs to be heard. She needs a safe emotional space. She needs someone who sees her humanity. But here is where emotional boundaries matter the most. One honest conversation can turn into two. Two can turn into five. And before anyone realizes it, emotional dependence forms. This is why awareness is important. Not to judge her, not to shame her, but to recognize when someone is shifting their emotional weight onto you. even if unintentionally. And, once again, you have a choice. People also tend to express emotional connection through compliments. Subtle, thoughtful, personal compliments. The kinds that go beyond appearance and acknowledge your character, your presence, your emotional energy. When a married woman begins offering these softer, deeper compliments, it often reflects emotional projection. She admires something she feels she's missing. She appreciates something she doesn't experience often. This isn't manipulation. This isn't seduction. This is unmet emotional need expressing itself through admiration. Humans seek what they feel deprived of. It's natural psychology, and understanding this helps you stay grounded instead of getting flattered or misled by the attention. Because once someone begins admiring you more intensely than they admire the person they committed to, the emotional imbalance can grow. And if you don't maintain boundaries, you can unintentionally step into a situation neither of you is prepared for. So stay aware, stay grounded, stay compassionate, but firm. Another powerful psychological sign is the desire to create shared space. You'll notice when someone begins making small efforts to be around you, to see you, to spend even a few minutes in your presence. This is not always intentional, and it's not always romantic. Sometimes connection simply feels easier with you. Sometimes you represent comfort, or ease, or emotional understanding. And so, a married woman might suddenly appear where you happen to be. She might join group events more often when she knows you're there. She may take small detours in her routine just to interact with you naturally. Again, this is not villainous behavior. It's human longing. It's emotional warmth seeking a place to land. But you must be aware of what this means. When a married person begins creating opportunities to be around you, it means the emotional boundaries in their primary relationship are loosening, not necessarily through intention, but through emotional drift. And this is where you need to step gently, thoughtfully, and wisely. Because emotional closeness, when unaddressed, can lead to consequences neither of you want. Human connection is powerful, it's warm, it's comforting, and that's why it's also complicated. Sometimes people begin to form attachments without even realizing they're doing it. It happens quietly, emotionally, in the spaces between conversations, in the comfort of feeling understood, in the softness of being seen. But the truth is simple. Any connection that threatens someone's relationship, even unintentionally, becomes a burden for everyone involved. And you deserve clarity, peace, emotional safety, a connection that doesn't come with hidden confusion, or guilt, or conflict. So if you ever notice a married woman becoming emotionally invested in you, respond not with ego, not with excitement, but with maturity. Set boundaries gently. Protect your emotional space. Respect hers, and remind yourself and her that emotional clarity is healthier than emotional chaos. No matter how flattering the attention feels, no matter how comforting the connection becomes, you deserve relationships built on openness, not secrecy, and she deserves emotional healing within her own life, not emotional escape through someone else. So walk with compassion, walk with awareness, and walk with the wisdom to choose what brings peace, not confusion, because emotional maturity isn't about resisting temptation, it's about understanding yourself and others with honesty. And maybe, one day, you'll look back and realize this moment taught you more about emotional strength than any relationship ever could. Choose clarity. Choose respect. Choose the path that lets everyone breathe. Because peace is always worth it.